If Simon Cowell really wants to find the X factor, then he could do a lot worse than come to this place. This is Manor Farm Stables, the home of the champion jumps trainer, Paul Nicholls. Now, it's his annual open day for the owners. The public aren't allowed in today, so we're very lucky to be here. And we're in God Corner here. We've got some possible champions and some current champions. This is Twist Magic. Now, he was a top novice chaser. He could be the Queen Mother Champion Chase winner. In this chap here, well, he's a little bit hiding away at the moment, but Tyrannus, he's having a good feed at the moment. And the current top novice staying chaser, Denman, could he win the 2008 Gold Cup? But as I say, it is the owner's annual open day, so where's my horse? Kauto? Kauto, where are you? Ah, yes. Ah, the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner himself, Kauto Star. Magnificent. Nicholls, of course, is now at the top of his profession. He's now twice been champion trainer. As a jockey, he never reached those heights, for all that he rode some very good horses, including Broadheath and, in particular, Play School.
He was a great horse, you know, won some good races on him, and I was lucky to be associated with him.
He was meant to win a Gold Cup one day, and various stories about that Gold Cup the horse was got at, things like that. What was your make of that?
He was a hard horse to train. He'd had a few problems. Basically, leg-wise, and there's all sorts of theories. I don't think he was ever got it. I just think injuries were catching up with him, and he was never effective after that day, you know. But you know, he won some good races, and it was a privilege to be involved with a horse as good as that.
So you've ridden some good horses for David Barons. When you were riding, were you always thinking in your mind, one day I'd like to be a trainer?
Well, obviously, I mean, I never thought I'd ever be a jockey because I was always far too tall and too heavy and had a big struggle. But it just sort of happened, really, and it was I thought it was a good way of getting. I mean, I came from a family with no involvement in horses or racing at all, and I saw it as a stepping stone to get where I wanted to be. And I don't know why, but I just always wanted to train, and you know, riding was an obvious step to get involved in it.
So you came to Manor Farm in, I think, what, 91, 92?
91, yeah, about 16 years ago now.
And that was mainly because you'd ridden a few winners for Paul Barber, wasn't it?
Well, no, I had ridden some winners for Paul, but I you know, we just won the National with Seagram and with David Barons, and I thought it was time to go. But obviously I didn't have any finance behind me, and I just thought I'd keep looking in the paper every day and see if there was a yard come up for rent. And just happened one day, there was an advert in the Racing Post, or Sporting Life, whatever it was in those days, Paul Barber was advertising this yard, and it basically said 28 box yard for rent, owner will have a couple of horses in training. So I rang up straight away, and it was Paul Barber. I remember speaking to him and him saying to me, "What took you so long?" So, well, it was only 7 o'clock, got the paper 10 minutes ago, and came up and had an interview, and the rest is history, as they say.
So Manor Farm Stables, you arrive. Obviously, within a few years, you had some good horses, Seymour Business, and then Flagship Uber Alice came along as well. But what about in the early days? Was it a struggle, or did it go pretty well from the start?
It was a struggle. I wouldn't want to start again. I mean, luckily the first year I had 10 winners. The Seymour Indians was the first good horse that came along, and he got us on the map. And then Seymour Business, Deep Bramble, and it sort of progressed and snowballed, and I was always fairly positive. Basically, it was sink or swim. I sank everything I had into it, which wasn't much. And in those days, you used to do everything, from riding out to mucking out, driving the lorry. And then, when you start, you have to do it all, as everybody will tell you nowadays. But luckily, some good horses came along, the right owners came along, and the place here worked.
And the things progressed very strongly. Yeah. One thing's noticeable, all the top owners seem to be here now. And of course, Kauto Star, his Ante-Post favourite for the Gold Cup, and a hot one at that after a terrific victory in 2007, earlier this year. What's the plan for him now? You've always mapped up, it's Haydock first, then maybe the Tingle Creek King George?
I don't know, I was looking at the timing of it. Some of these races are sort of a week later than they were last year. You know, I think to do the Haydock, Tingle Creek, King George, it might just be getting all a bit tight. So I might, and I say might, start him off at Aintree in October, which gives him then a fair bit of time before Haydock. It's quite possible we might miss the Tingle Creek this year if we felt it wasn't the right thing to do and go straight to Kempton. I mean, the 3 big races obviously are the 3 bonus races in effect, but you know, they are the 3 main races, the Haydock race, the King George and the Gold Cup. So everything will work around there, but we just will follow the same pattern as last year, and if we miss the Tingle Creek, we're fine.
Here's the 2007 Gold Cup winner. It's Kauto Star. Here is the young pretender, Denman, the top novice chaser. They're going to eyeball each other each day in their boxes. Is this the finish of the 2008 Gold Cup? Phil, what does Denman have to find to make Kauto Star work?
Well, he's still got to make quite significant improvements, around about 14-15 pound. We've got Denman on 163 and Kauto Star at his best on 178. So there's a world of difference between winning a novice chase, championship chase at Cheltenham, and the real thing. So there's a fair bit of progress for him to make.
And although Denman's the novice, in fairness to Kauto Star, we may not yet have seen the best of him.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Denman has really only beaten what he's been put up against. I mean, Kauto Star's had to run up against the best horses, and Denman's winning these races easily. So we really don't know. He's a very difficult horse to assess, because how good is he? Because he's not so far been off the bridle very often.
It's a magnificent period, I think, for British racing, the steeplechasing situation at the moment. So many possible champions and a true champion at the top of the tree.
Well, yeah, I think most people would say it's a golden age for British jumping at the moment. We've got some fantastic horses. We import a lot of the better horses from France. We've got our own original horses as well. Horses come over from Ireland. The competition between British and Irish trained horses is incredibly sound and competitive. So it's definitely a really high quality time for British jumping.
Of course, when you come to handicap marks, you have to use your head, but if you are allowed to use your heart as far as falling in love with horses, are you a Kauto Star man or a Denman man, Phil?
Well, I think I'm far too sensible to make a decision on that one. I think they're both great horses. We're really lucky to have them. The most important thing is that they stay fit and healthy and join with all the other stars to take part next year at Cheltenham Festival.
So according to the BHA, Denman still has something to prove, and Nicholls would agree as he plots his career.
I've got in my mind to have him ready for Wetherby. If everything was right, Charlie Hall, ground was right, the track's right, it would suit him to start off there. And if he's ready, that's where he'll probably go. But I wouldn't want to run them against each other unless I'm forced to before the Gold Cup. And yes, you're right, he has got a fair old gap to bridge, but it's possible. But I think if you've seen Kauto Star today, he looks every bit as good, if not better physically than he ever was last year. And I think they'll all have to improve enormously to be beating him.
He's a real character, Kauto Star.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, for the first time, having seen him in the flesh and seen him just on his daily routine, he walks around his box, he nods his head up and down. He does seem to live slightly on his nerves. Is that fair? He seems a very active horse.
No, not normally. He's the most laid-back horse. To see him perform today when he was bred is the first time I've ever seen him like that. I mean, normally Denman's a complete fool, and Kauto's was like that to start with. He's normally very laid back. At the moment he's very fresh and well, and that's why he can get a bit keen sometimes in his races. But obviously, he thrives on hard work, that horse. And I probably left him a bit fresh before Newbury last year, and he ran a bit on his nerves that day. Then between then and the Gold Cup, I worked him hard, just took the edge off him, and he was much better. And that's how he needs to be. And we're not at that stage yet, and he is a bit fresh. But that's just him, and he's. I'd love to see him walk around there like that.
Your biggest problem almost is keeping the stars away from each other. What about Neptune Collonges, good winner of the Guinness Gold Cup at Punchestown? We saw it live on At the Races. We can see Neptune again as we speak to you now winning at Punchestown. It was a good victory. Where might he go?
But he's a hard horse to place, really. And he's won a Grade 1. He's got to contend with having a Grade 1 penalty. And the Charlie Hall might, and I suppose last year we had no penalty at all. I think this year if we ran on that we'd get a £10 penalty. He's not the biggest in the world, and that will make life hard. So, a lot of discussion with the owner. We've got to decide where is the right route. I mean, he won the rehearsal chase last year, and I got young Nick Schofield who claims a very handy £7, and that something like that could come into the equation. We used Liam on him last year to take off 5. If Nick was claiming 7, might not be the worst idea in the world to look at that again and take 7 off him, which means then, even if he's got top weight, he only carries 11.5, which would be a big help to him because he's not the biggest horse in the world. So a lot will dictate where he runs, but there are races in Ireland and there's other races here. We'll just see how things unfold.
One horse who wasn't here today, but we've seen, of course, on the track, Mohaison, who won the Sun Alliance chase previously. Again, is he likely to come back in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I keep getting good reports. I haven't seen him since he left here, the week after he won at Sandown. I think the intention is for him to come back and train in the autumn sometime, although that's yet to be confirmed.
More on Nicholls' top horses in a moment. But of course this was the owner's open day, but there were some surprise guests, including the former top flat trainer David Loder. I said to David, what the hell are you doing here?
Paul very kindly invited me down and couldn't wait to come, see what some proper horses look like.
Of course, these are old chaps, but you became famous, I guess, in the game for training 2-year-olds. I mean, a Loder 2-year-old, first time out, Sheikh Mohammed, we could all lump on, we knew it would win. How did you do that? How did you get all those 2-year-olds to win?
Well, if you're as bad a loser as I am, Matt, the thought of getting one beat was too much to cope with. So just make sure they win. But I was lucky, I had superb staff, and Frankie used to ride them, and Jamie, and you know, they did the work on the gallops, and when the horses went to the races, they were ready.
But joking apart, I mean, you did start off the season, it would be 1 from 1 for Loder, 2 from 2, the 2-year-olds. And I suspect you were seriously gutted when that day came when you were 6 from 7, say.
Very gutted. Very. Well, look, I mean, that's the art of training, isn't it? You want everything to win. And I possibly wanted everything to win a little too much, which is why I don't train anymore. But that's, you know, that's the way it goes.
A lot of people were gutted when you did stop training because, as I say, it was a bit of a licence to print cash for a lot of punters out there. What are you up to now? What have you done since you gave up?
Well, I mainly work just in the bloodstock business, and still work for Sheikh Mohammed. And so he very kindly invited me back last year to start working for him again. So keeping my eye in. Seem to spend an awful lot of time on aeroplanes here, there and everywhere. Still smoke too many cigarettes, but otherwise I'm fine.
And you must be impressed with how Paul's handled Kauto Star. Horse who's got almost as many ones next to the name as most of yours had.
Well, Paul is... I had an interest in a couple of horses with him last year.
Which were they?
Pack Jack, who just got beaten in the Fox Hunters. And he is a remarkable man. Fantastic. I mean, I really can't tell you how impressed I am with his professionalism, dedication. You know, I'd hate to say he reminds me of myself, because I wasn't as good as he was. But, you know, he is an unbelievable trainer to deal with, and very, very impressive.
David Loder and Paul Nicholls, of course, have something in common. They both love to win. So what about the progressive chaser Gungadoo? What's Paul got in mind for him?
Gungadoo, I see really as a Hennessy horse. I might even give him one run over hurdles before then. And he's a good sort of what I call a stay-in chaser, really. He could end up improving into a Gold Cup horse, but he's got a fair way to go yet. But you never know. But I think I might just give him one run over hurdles and then go for the Hennessy.
So there could be exciting days ahead for Gungadoo. One man, though, who's already had an exciting day is the Irish trainer Liam Burke. Now, he popped down to Manor Farm Stables, and of course he was the trainer of Sir Frederick, who won the Galway Plate. It must have been a great moment.
It was brilliant, but I'm afraid I made a mistake of running him too soon after Galway. But he was so well in himself at home, I took a chance, but it was the wrong decision.
But he was great at Galway. We can have a look at Sir Frederick winning once again. It was a convincing victory.
Yeah, brilliant altogether. Best day I've ever had in racing. The lads that own him, like, they're a great crowd really, and they enjoyed it, and they made the day for a lot of other people too. But it was the first horse they bought in the syndicate. Like, they've had great fun with him. He's won 6 races for them now.
And where do you train, Liam? How many horses have you got?
Well, I'd have about 75 and I'd be full. I'm in Cork Waterford border, East Cork.
And you've trained in your time, I think, for Paul Barbell. You know Paul Barbell pretty well?
Yeah, I do. I know Paul. That's why I'm here. I know Paul with a long time, but I train his younger horses for him, 3 and 4-year-olds. And
so you're the one who gets them ready?
Well, the ones that are good enough come here. The ones that are not, he just doesn't train on, basically. You know, he sells them off.
Give us a name of a good one, Liam, one that we can look forward to.
Here Comes the Truth is here this year. I had him last year. He's a real good horse. He won in a Point of Mount in Ballyraggett, and he was second to another one of Paul's in Kauto, his first run. A horse called Big Fella Tanks, and he'll be a good horse to win time, maybe not this year.
Here Comes the Truth then, one for the future. But a horse who's already proved himself a pretty decent performer is the Ryanair winner, Taranis.
I'm convinced he'll be better over 3. Aintree, when Monny's got him, beat him over 2.5, is a much easier track, and they reversed the form. And I think probably we'd have been more effective over 3 miles that day. I sort of think he could end up running in the King George. The Gold Cup trip might be too far for him this year, but 3 miles will definitely be suiting him.
And you've got stars who could come back. Noland, who won the Supreme Novices and the Tolworth. Yeah. What's the plan for Noland? Novice chasing?
Yeah, he'll go novice chasing, obviously. I mean, he's done a lot of schooling over fences before he went wrong, and be hopeful of him coming back.
And you've got some horses that we can really look forward to. Could you pick out 2 or 3 for us? I mean, I've got 1 or 2. First of all, let's start with Elusive Dream, who came from Sir Mark Prescott, used to be Cheverley Park stud. Really good flat horse.
Yeah. Nice horse. We give him lots of time. Which was probably a good thing. Jumps nicely, but obviously, hopefully, if he takes to it, it'll be a good novice hurdler.
So he's a very exciting horse. I mean, if he takes to hurdling, as you say, as he did on the flat, masterminded, another Clive Smith, he could be anything.
He could be anything. I mean, the problem with him, he's a 4-year-old and he's won over hurdles and over fences, which rules him out of novices. So I'm going to just have to look, go through the programme book and find out where to run. Probably run in a beginner's graduation chase, at Exeter in December, and then let us tell him about it. But this year will be a light campaign with him.
As far as the horses are concerned, obviously Kauto at the top. Can you give us just one young horse that not everyone has heard of, that we could just put in the back of our mind as one who could be exciting, maybe not necessarily for betting, but something that might be at Cheltenham come March?
Big Bucks.
Big Bucks.
Lovely horse, yeah. If he takes the jumping fences, could be anything.
Is that an Andy Stewart?
Yeah.
Right, Big Bucks.
Big Bucks, that's just one. Another horse I really like is an Odd Von Paula. They run in novice hurdles. Really good stamper horse. But yeah, there's so many nice youngsters here, and things will sort of unfold over the next few months.
And finally, Paul, can we just run through your jockey situation for this season? Ruby Walsh, number 1?
Yeah, number 1.
Sam Thomas, number 2?
Yeah.
Schofield?
Probably number 3.
What do you think of Ruby's? I mean, I get a lot of emails in on At the Race about Ruby Walsh, because a lot of his horses are held up.
Yeah.
Is that something that you tell Ruby, or is that Ruby something Ruby decides?
I think Ruby likes riding horses. I mean, it does frustrate me sometimes. He knows that I sometimes think he does give them a bit too much to do, because, sometimes fit
Do you
horse...
accept that too sometimes?
Yeah, that's just Ruby. That's Ruby's style. He likes doing that. But if I say to him, like Neptune Clonges when he won it Punches Down, I said, look, he's slow, he gallops, jump out and make every post a winning post. You've got to be aggressive, and he'll do that. But he does like riding horses off the pace, and he's very, very good at it. But not all horses need to be ridden like that.
What are his qualities? Is he just naturally a gifted horseman?
Yeah, he is, and he's always thinking.
What about after the race?
Horses always jump for him, and he's always got good ideas.
Yeah.
And he's a really good bloke. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a row with him in all the time he's been riding for us. And he probably says I've mellowed quite a bit, but he's just a good all-round guy, isn't he? And it's handy that someone who is so professional, you also can say he's a good friend of yours. It helps an awful lot.
So you started off, 10 winners in the first season, back in the 1991-92 sort of season. Now you've got the best horses in the land, the first 2 or 3 favourites for the Gold Cup, and you're even in the betting to train the first 5 home and do a Michael Dickinson. I mean,
that won't happen.
It must be... You must go to bed at night sometimes and have to pinch yourself and think, how is this? This is just magic.
It is, but lots of ingredients. It's all, happen a lot. I've got a great team behind me, very good staff, good owners, and we've got something that works. It's a great team effort here. It's not, okay, I'm the front man, I have to make the decision, the buck stops with me. But you need people around you you can trust, and your owners need to be able to trust you. And there's loads of ingredients that make this work. And it's good, but every day's a different challenge, and you can never rest on your laurels. You've got to keep looking forward and keep sharp, and try and keep that edge.